was going to start with, since you've been gone.
That's much better than we're back.
Welcome back. It's been a great fortnight. It's good to see you again. It's been a couple of weeks since we've last done this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Correct.
Yep.
Welcome to the Strongman Say podcast. A big welcome to our new accountability camera guy, Mr. Leigh Jack. You'll know Leigh. If you're from Australia, he does a lot of the filming stuff for Australia's Strongest. We've wrangled him down here for the podcast and some shooting stuff for myself and Strong Geelong, which is sick. So we're stoked to have someone who is in the sport and knows what's going on the camera and on the mic.
I think there's probably a conspiracy. If we get Leigh in here filming this, if we say anything bad, he'll just chop it out.
Yeah.
I think there's a conspiracy there. Yeah.
So what's going on, Leigh?
I'm going to blackmail you with all that footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to send it back to me. He's going to cut it out and send it to Mason. Yeah. And then use
none of the good parts, none of the compliments.
You want your qualifying points?
Yeah.
You want to qualify for the comp? Cool. So since you've been gone, give us a little rundown of competitions that you have been up to, Mr. Leigh Shaw.
Since we've been away.
It hasn't been a fortnight. We understand.
Do we start
that it's
back
been
at 2020?
While. Yeah. 2019, I think.
Log Dead Stone would have been the first one.
Yep.
That we both did.
I did not do it. I was never there. It's annulled.
You did a log
It's not
press.
a divorce. It's an annulment. Yep. I was never there.
Which you did. That was a lot of fun. That was a tough comp. That was fast. We started at 5 p.m?
I started at 5 p.m. and finished at 5:30, so probably not hard.
5:05.
I was eating pizza at 5:35.
True. Easy day for you.
Yeah.
Very easy day for you. Yeah, Log Dead Stone. Then went over to Chaos and then did the South Australia comp.
Yep. Chaos.
Fun. Very quick.
Always fun.
Also very quick.
Yeah. Quick game's a good game though, right?
Yeah. It's 6 events in 4 hours.
Yep.
I think roughly. Like they're onto it. Their organisation is
they always run
next to none.
They look after the athletes really well. They just they've got it nailed over there, I think, and it's probably a little bit part of having the flexibility and freedom, not the flexibility, but the motivation to treat classes as sole classes for a day. It's a lot of comps to run, but it definitely makes for like a great comp.
I think as far as like spectating and viewing, that would be the future of the sport.
Yeah.
Like 3 hours or less.
Yeah.
Start to finish, one weight class. You get to follow the athletes. You get to see what they're up to.
Yes, I agree. Great at the top end. We're gonna divulge. We're gonna divert here a little bit. I think great at the top end, but how do you do that at the grassroots level, right? So it's like, cool. We're throwing a competition. We've got 8 different weight classes of people who want to compete. Plus, we've got to do a novice comp because that's how the expectation is now. We've got to have a novice free for all. Do we throw in fucking masters? Okay, cool. Like now we've got a 12-hour day because we've got 5 events, and we've got 3 people in each or 4 people in each. Or take, and that makes a really long day and a really hard day to spectate. So like at the grassroots level, really, really hard, right? How do you do that at the grassroots level, or do you just not do that at the grassroots level, and do you just treat the top end as, do we try to encourage promoters to treat the top end just as sole competitions or shorter competitions?
I think it'd be very hard to do at a grassroots level. Mind you, there's not as many people competing.
Yes.
I think if you have the equipment, running head-to-head 3 at a time, 4 at a time, should be the way to go.
Yeah.
Like have more going on at one time. If you can get people warmed up and organised, actually having a quick flow, like there's so much downtime between resetting up events or changing weights that don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question for you, because I was reading his stories yesterday, and obviously like there was a lot on... This has gone sideways so quickly.
So
I told you we didn't have a plan for this. We just fucking wing it.
So your rants. Tell me more.
Tell me more about your rants. So you were talking about, you put like a Q&A up about like what federations are doing wrong, blah, blah, blah. And one of them, and you were saying that the days are gone even at like a competition level where you shouldn't have multiple pairs of farmers in the warm-up area. You should have adequate warm-up space. We should be trying to aim for like head-to-head. How the fuck does a gym promoter or someone at every other level do that? Is that not a deterrent? Like, is it not a deterrent for gym owners or micro promoters to run comps when people are expecting so much for so little. Like people complain about entry fees and stuff like this. Like it's $100. They want a t-shirt. They want adequate warm-up space. They want multiple pieces of equipment. They want to run head-to-head. They want a fucking well-run day. They want all the volunteers to be there. They want referees to be there in multiple lanes. They want helpers. Some of them fucking want a official secondary judge to overrule the judge's judge. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does, like, running a comp coming from like a micro promoter is a bit of a fucking headache full stop when you think about the liaising, the setup that no one pays you for. Like, we really, I mean, everyone goes, oh, but you make so much money. Like, I've lost money on the last 3 comps that we've run. We don't have enough people to do the comps. Do you know what I mean? Like, to actually make anything that, like, puts anything back into the gym. Do you know what I mean? Do you think it's a deterrent? Like, do you think that people's expectations around what comps should look like? Like, when we started, it wasn't like that. Everyone just warmed up on the fucking handles. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was way more chill, and it was really fun. Where now the expectation is that everybody needs to have this, this, and this. The logs need to be the fucking same. It's the expectation is so high now for competitions. Do you think it's a deterrent for promoters to run comps, or do you think they should still be running comps and trying to rise to that expectation?
I think people expect too much a lot of the time, but there's somewhere in the middle. Yeah. And time management is probably the biggest one that you see when comps are run well, the time management's good. If they break warm-ups into different flights and actually organise and tell like, how many comps have we been to where the under 80s are warming up and there's a heavyweight guy in there warming up and you're like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Go sit down. You're taking up room, you're taking up a bar, you're taking up time, you're hitting almost near your comp weight like an hour before you're going out. So like,
yes,
treat athletes like they're a little bit dumb and they're going to go in a little bit too early, and actually explain to them, or have like someone out the back just being like,
warm up. This is
80s and 90s are going now. We've only got one set, but there's only 10 of you. You can make it work. There's another set out there on the comp floor.
Yeah.
105s, you're not allowed to touch anything.
Yeah.
Not please try not to. Go the fuck away. Yeah. Don't touch anything.
Leave it.
When they're out, you're going to have half an hour.
Okay, but like, is half an hour long enough? Because you're talking about adequate warm-up times and stuff like that. Let's talk about chaos, where it runs really, really quickly. You finish your last event, your last out there, you bomb it, and you're first out in the next one, let's say the yoke, because I know that happens, and you've got 15 minutes to warm up. Like, but it's still the best way, we think, to make sure the sport is spectator-friendly. And we still want adequate warm-ups. It's like a strength sport, so you need the warm-up time, but we also want it to be quick.
You don't need as much warm-up time as what you think.
Cool, great. That's what I was because everyone's like, we need adequate warm-up time. We need adequate warm-up stuff. It's like, yes, you need adequate warm-up stuff, obviously, but you also have to be aware that it's a show as well. If you want to do a competition, sure, like let's give you 45 minutes or an hour to warm up. But if you want the sport to grow, it needs to be a show too.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard middle ground.
Adequate warm-up time. We don't need a heap of time with just empty farmers sitting there.
Yes.
You need adequate 15 minutes when there's weight on the bar to get to close to comp weight.
Yeah.
That's it. Any warm-up beforehand, you can go in the corner, you can lay down, you can roll out and stretch. You just need an adequate 15-minute window on that implement without 30 people being on it, and you're good.
It's hard when there's 4 implements in a medley or something like that, and you've got 15 or 20 minutes, and you want to try and get close to comp weight on 4 implements, and everyone's fucking around.
I think the hard part is there's a long wait time where you have that time to warm up, but no one does, and then that back end window gets crushed.
Yeah,
and then you get sent out.
Yeah, so either get the heavyweights warming up when the 64s are out. Doing fuck all. And then hanging out, or you get people who are like waiting super long. They don't do any prep work, and then they want to spend 35 minutes or 40 minutes warming up on the implement, where it's like, no, do more prep work. Understand that you've got 4 touches or 5 touches of this log before we go out.
Yeah, and that's where like powerlifting, you just know that when the flight's up before you, when they're into their second, third attempts, you start warming up. It's every comp's the same. It's consistent. And strongman, no one knows. You either have someone too early or too late. Chaos, I got to pick up the empty yoke, which was 70 kilos, to find my height or just to double check my height. Then I blinked and it went to 220.
Yeah.
So I carried that. and then I blinked for 2 seconds again, and it was 370. And then it was like, cool, you have 5 minutes, and then we go.
Yeah, I think this is like the hard thing that people just forget, that like because strongman isn't standardized, and it shouldn't be completely standardized, in my opinion. Obviously, that's a bit of a debate, but it's not completely standardized. Every comp runs a little bit different. You got to understand, like when you're requesting things or saying like this is how it should be, it's like in what comp?
Yep.
Because it changes quickly. How many competitors? Is it sole weight class? Is there multiple weight classes? Like the world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
The comp is the comp, and you just got to fucking giddy up and get with it. Do you know what I mean?
You can make it easier. Like if you change the event order and you set the event order out right, you can be pretty warm for the next event.
Yeah.
And you're not, as long as you're not having back-to-back events where you've got
Yeah.
deadlift, power stairs, stones, it's like, well, people are going to be very warm but also very fucked.
Yeah.
So like you need to space out what comes where,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of already warm to just go into the next thing.
Yeah. I mean, after the first event, you should be fucking warm.
Yeah, like
Should
after
be ready to roll.
After
Like,
the deadlifts at
going.
Chaos, I think we did yoke. And it was like, what do you really warm up on yoke? You pick up the yoke.
Yeah. The only thing that I say is like, obviously when you have long comps with multiple weight classes, there's so much downtime that you need to re-warm up. That's the only thing. But you need to re-prepare to then warm up on the implement, right?
Yeah.
Chaos and then South Australia, so qualified for the 105s middleweight series next year.
Yep.
Woo!
I just don't want to cut weight,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Are you going to take the title?
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Don't go in a comp to come
that'll be cute.
second. Depends what the rest of the events are, but so far they're not terrible for me. But then they're also not terrible for some other people that typically they would be terrible for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an
So-
interesting one, and we're going to go through that in a mini too.
I think the top 3 in middleweights, the other weight classes will probably be more standard.
Yeah.
105s, the top 3 will probably not be the 3 strongest.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I'll call it early now that the top 3 will probably be 3 of the more seen as statically weaker people.
I think like a combination, like they'll probably be the guys who are on the cusp of being up there and the strong, like strength. They had to be strong.
But this year they probably wouldn't have cracked top 5.
No.
And next year I think top 3 will be the people that didn't crack top 5, and maybe the top static people from this year are they're going to start working now.
I tend to agree.
They got a lot of work.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Cool. And SA, so qualify. We've got middleweight series coming up. We had a lot of comps. I did LDS. I tore my pec. That was fun. I had a facet sprain 4 weeks beforehand. So I basically did fuck all for 8 weeks, and I went to Ultimate Strongmans. Came third there. Was pretty messy. Then I did Ultimate Teams the day afterwards, which was actually quite fun. And then I travelled for 6 weeks and got skinny and ate pasta and drank wine. That's it.
Honestly, it sounds great.
So we'll fast forward me.
That all sounds great.
Yeah, there hasn't been much.
Yeah.
But we have had quite a lot. We had ASA Nationals recently, which there wasn't a huge number on, no live stream. So we don't know. I don't know much.
Yep.
I had a client who won the 80s. He was the only 80 there, but did quite well. Actually, reasonably heavy for ASA Nationals, some of the events. Usually that's like a little bit lighter, but I thought like the 80s, he had a 340 yoke. That's a heavy yoke for an under 80. Do you know what I mean? I remember when the under 90s were doing 340 yoke at Arnold's. So, I mean, obviously the sport's come a long way, but that's pretty heavy yoke for an under 80. We have AAC Nats coming up, which will be interesting to see how many people show up, put up, how that federation comes to the party.
Yep.
I think they had a really good opportunity. I think they have a really good opportunity to provide Australia another federation that's, being coined, run by the athletes for the athletes kind of deal. I just hope it's not squandered, because they need to show that, like, hey, we're a really good option for athletes, and we're going to keep pushing this and put strongman back in these expos and stuff, and we'll just wait and see how they go, I guess.
Yeah, I think looking at all of strongman, like even 10 years ago, the comps that promote the most, that post the most, that advertise the most, get the most people.
Yeah.
Almost regardless of events, regardless of weights.
Yep.
Like if you look at state comps, even this year with AS, Vics and Queenslands were probably like, they're the most filled out. Yeah. And they're the most, they're the most that I see posted as well.
Yeah.
And they like push and plug.
Yeah.
and people forget that Arnold's in Australia, it did its own promotion because it was Arnold's. So no one had to promote that. It was just, if you want to go here, look, there's bodybuilders, there's Pro Raw, there's everything else.
100%.
Whereas now it's like, you have to promote comps. You have to be in people's faces 100%. A lot.
To be able to get people in the door and wanting to do the comps.
Yeah, so
time is also one. Like New South Wales is pretty close after all the series and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people just aren't ready to or aren't willing to jump into a competition again so soon. So that's a bit of a tricky one. But generally that Queensland and Victoria, even when Arnold's were around, they're the two states. Because we're going to talk about state of origin in a second. But like they've always been the two states, right? New South Wales, really strong, really good competition. And like when New South Wales Strongest was around, huge competition. But generally like the Arnold's level and stuff like that, it was often like a Queensland, Vic stuff. But New South Wales, like I would say like their qualifiers over the last couple of years haven't been because of that split in the like New South Wales Strongest to whatever, like, you know what I mean? There's no New South Wales Strongest now. There is, but it doesn't lead to anything. It's not the same as what it was. It doesn't have the same strength. The competitors are, do you know what I mean? You've got some killer competitors in New South Wales, but the scene needs to be solidified somehow.
Yeah, they're very divided between a bunch of different things. But if you're looking at national comps, you need to advertise if people are going to pay to fly there.
Oh, yeah.
They need details ahead of time. They need to know what events are on what day. They need to know if it's a 1 or a 2 day comp.
Yeah.
And if it changes to a 1 day comp.
Yeah, like AAC. Yeah.
Like, they need to know all the logistics.
I wasn't going to throw anyone on the bus.
No, it was like, ASA Nationals.
Oh, ASA Nationals.
It was a 2 day comp.
Yeah.
And up until a few weeks out. And they're like, oh, no, we're changing it to a day. And it's like, you need to tell people
like
that.
AAC was like 2 days, but I had clients asking like, well, what day am I supposed to be on? I need to know, like, do I fly out on the Sunday after the competition, or so that stuff just needs to be communicated really clearly. Yeah, if people are gonna like do the comps, like if you're gonna, did you see actually? Side note, Ultimate Strongman. Tell me you saw this, the European Championships.
I've seen people post like that they've qualified for something, but I don't know what it is.
Ultimate Strongman European Championships. Talking about this, just as a side note. Ultimate Strongman European Championships. God love you guys. Love you. You're great. Moved the European Championships from Netherlands back to Fulda, Germany, and made it a week earlier with 2 weeks to go to the comp. So they moved it a week earlier. So it was 2 weeks away, and they moved the country that it was in.
And I'm sure they'll be like, oh, it's just an hour flight. You'll be fine. God.
Anyway, so like promoters, like it's just like communication is key and like just trying to make it clear. So, and promotion obviously as well.
Especially here in Australia, like for most people, it's a hobby. They have families. It's a lot of money. If you're going to fly into state, you're not going to do it unless you have like details organized of exactly where to go, what to do, everything 100%. Like that.
State of origin comps. We're talking about your Instagram, and now we're talking about like Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, that kind of deal. State of origin comps. How would it look? And will Strongman Promotions run it?
As in us?
As in you.
I mean, I could. I think, and the same as you're talking about like ultimate teams.
Yeah.
Team comps are the best thing ever.
So much fun.
Logistically, an absolute nightmare.
And also bring the soft suits back. Like the ultimate strongman's like stayed at like nations. With the soft suits and stuff in the stadium. Sick.
That's what I posted the other day because each country had a different one.
Yeah, I love it.
That's fun.
So good.
Yeah. So I think if it was states, it would have to be like team.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that would look, and it would be a logistic nightmare. And a lot of equipment. But I think it would have to be state teams.
Yeah.
And then
it's like
who delegates the state?
Who chooses the state competitors?
Or the state representative.
Who chooses the state representative?
Whoever pays me the most. Put it simply.
I like it.
If I ran a comp.
Yeah, if.
Hypotheticals. But that would be something that'd be the only thing you wouldn't need to advertise. And people will want to do it.
Yeah, State of Origin is a good idea.
Comps are a lot of fun.
We had like the contest, which was like teams, like gym teams, which was a cool idea and concept. I think like the best way to do it would be to kind of look at like the events that Ultimate Strongman ran in those, and just sort of like basically rope learn and copy some of the events from them.
I'd be happy just to absolute template copy and
Yeah,
just go,
like copy one of the years.
let's do ultimates.
100%. Like we'll do this. This is going to be state of origins. Put some teams together. We know those events work and stuff like that.
Yep.
See how they run it. Watch it a few times and then just roll it out.
Yeah.
We won't say what year though, because we won't give away the events early. Speaking of events, middleweight series has released some events. We're talking about comps and stuff like that. Middleweight series has released some events. Now there's 4 that will be across each weight category: behind the neck press, monster dumbbell, power stairs, and the stone run. Thoughts?
Why is it always my thoughts?
Because
What are
I'm
your
the one.
thoughts?
I'm the one talking.
what
What are
are
my
your
thoughts?
What do you think?
Because I'm the one who runs through it, and then I just ask you. I thought I have to handball, Otherwise, I'll just be rambling here for an hour.
That's why I get in trouble.
Yeah, but I palm off all the controversy.
I agree.
Yes, interesting. Yes, no comment. No comment. Oh, I agree on that one. That's not controversial at all. Yeah, you want me to get in trouble?
I like 2 of them. I don't like the combination of the other 2.
I don't like 6 of them.
Is that from
Louis is worried he's going to lose a job on this podcast. I think he's very quiet back there. No,
is that from a competitor standpoint or a spectator standpoint? As an athlete,
I don't like 4 of them from a Nah, look, here's my thing, right? Like, look, what have we? Middleweight series is totem pole carry. Fine, it's barrier carry. It's just
you're doing great.
Yeah. If you're going to have like some odd or like some like sideways or sidestep events, I just think like behind the neck press and monster dumbbell press, power stairs, totem carry, grip hold is 5 fucking nothing events. Like from a who the fuck is the strongest motherfucker in the weight class standpoint, right? Behind the neck press, like you'll get someone like, God love him, he's my client, but Bryce, like he'll do quite well. He's got a good split. You got a Cam Taylor, right? He'll do quite well, right? Good split, good skill, explosive athletes. Bryce has probably got like a 110, 120 like push press. No, he hasn't because I've been working on it. But like, he's got like 120, 130 log press. Like if he was push pressed, he's got a better split jerk. But like if he went up against the other guys in a like Viking press or something like that, he'd be left behind. So like if you're going to have monster dumbbell, which is the same fucking thing as a behind the neck press, it's technique, it's a catch, right? It's skill. It's not. It's an expression of strength to a degree, but it's very skillful, right? It's very demure.
Yes. Slip that in there.
Am I cool now? Am I cool now?
Let me go through the statistics. Being like, do we have the 18 to 22
Did I use that
year olds?
right, actually? But you got like behind the neck press, monster dumbbell, right? Cool. Power stair. Cool. Speed. Jumping stairs. Totem carry. Kind of like a barrier carry. It's a fucking long run.
Pick up a log.
And a grip hold, right? Like of some description.
I actually don't think that's been released yet.
Of some description. I think it's going to be a grip event. I don't know. Sorry.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you didn't hear anything.
I tend to agree. Like I give people behind the neck presses sometimes to help their dumbbell.
Yeah.
Because it is so similar.
Yeah.
And then now that this has popped up, I'm like, well, it's 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
But it also means I need to give people actual proper overhead events so that they don't get weak in the 3 months that they prep for middleweights.
Yeah, 100%. So you need to push them like, and this is the other thing, because I've got guys doing Vicks, and it's like, well, we can try do this like behind the neck press thing, but if you're not skillful, all right, if you are just a big strong guy, you're not skillful, you're trying to split jerk it, we can waste 6 weeks of getting weaker and getting more skillful, or we can slam some fucking push press work and hopefully get your shoulder stronger, get used to the behind the neck position. Do you know what I mean? Like
I just told everyone no.
Yeah, there is some benefit. There is some benefit.
They're like, what if I Steinborn?
Do you know how to do that? I told everybody, fuck around, find out. Let's see how you go.
No, they're just like, oh, but what if I Steinborn? And I'm like, do you know how to do that? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
yeah,
I can already see you're not going to be able to do it.
And also, like, you will get weaker. Do you know what I mean? It's not like when you're looking at, okay, cool, yes, for this specific comp, maybe, right? But how does it progress you as an athlete for the next 2 or 3 blocks?
Yeah.
Like, it might be skill-based and fine, but if we don't put any other pressing in there, you're going to get weaker.
Yeah.
So, anyway, behind the neck press, monster dumbbell. Same fucking thing, skill-based power exercise. Behind the neck press, great. All monster dumbbell, great, right? Max monster dumbbell, awesome. And then put in a incline log strict press for reps, throwing it back to 1982 World's Strongest Man. Do you know what I mean? Like, then make it like a rep Viking press. Do you know what I mean? Or make it like something that's going to be a little bit more strength-based. Power stairs, great. Then fuck off the totem carry.
Yep.
Right? Have either. Have a heavy fucking, like a farmer's run. Do you know what I mean? Like really heavy, not like 130.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like make it like 15 meters or 20 meters and make it like 170. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then stone run, make it heavy. Great. That's obviously quite heavy. So then, yeah, I'm just curious to see, like, do we get a heavy deadlift for reps? Is it going to be really heavy?
Yeah, or a heavy moving event.
Or a heavy moving event. Like, are we going to have
heavy power stairs?
Heavy power stairs maybe, but like, are we going to have heavy yoke? Because we've had heavy yoke a couple times.
Power stairs, if you just did 3 stairs, 3 implements.
Yeah, like heavy.
Heavy, like the first one's heavy, where everyone's like, shit, I might zero.
Yes, 100%. So that might make it interesting, and maybe not like 12 stairs, but that's my feelings. I don't care. Like, I'm not doing it, and I've got clients doing it, and I think it's great. Like, I think it'll also be great.
Yeah.
It's just a different style of comp.
Yeah. I think
we need, look, and this is the same thing. Like, do I like them? No. For me personally, it's not exciting. I wouldn't be excited to train for it because I don't feel like I'm getting stronger doing it.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Like, I want to feel like I'm fucking stronger. But from like a spectator standpoint, from a competition standpoint, great. It's Strongman. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all events. They're all structured fine. Like, it's just not my preferred kind of style of Strongman, I guess.
I'd look at events from like the back end of what am I trying to test? Like if it's log, am I trying to test someone's like endurance to be able to do a lot of reps in 60 seconds? Am I trying to test how many reps you can get at 90%? So it's heavy. 5 reps win.
Yeah.
Am I testing how quick you can run through 5 logs?
Yeah.
And like, if you can answer that question of what am I trying to test that someone's the best at or the strongest at in the random strength, then you've got a good event.
Yeah.
But then, if you've got 2 events that just overlap or the whole comp overlaps and you're just testing someone's like speed and skill.
Yeah. This is the other thing. I think people forget, like, people look at comps and go, oh, that's too light for middleweight series. So it's like, let's say it's like a log press for reps. It's supposed to be fucking light. Yeah. I want you to get 12.
People forget.
I'm going to give you 60 seconds at 100 or 110.
Yep.
And who's the most efficient and who can get the most reps out? Like, I remember India was like 110 log for reps.
Yep.
That was so hard. It was 60 seconds and like it was 12 reps to come equal first. Like, that's a lot of reps at 110 in 60 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're working. It's endurance. Do you know what I mean? So like, it just depends. Like, people forget that loads can be designed for a different purpose in strongman.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be heavy.
No.
But there needs to be some test of strength.
Needs to be some heavy shit.
Yeah, it needs to be well-rounded.
Yes.
So then you have someone that's strong, not just for 1 rep, but strong for 10 reps. I mean, you could do the behind the neck as like a rising bar.
Yeah.
Keep them on it. Bang, drop, plates.
Well,
bang,
it hasn't been
drop,
released how they're
plates.
doing it, has they? Or was it max? No, so it might be.
Yeah. I think it said max.
Yeah, okay. So we got max dumbbell and max muscle.
Yep.
Slow.
That's why I said like rising bar.
Yeah, rising bars. Maybe that's how they're going to do it. Sandbag to shoulder.
Max dumbbell, you just have 10 dumbbells and they're all preset at weights.
Yeah, that's
you just
cool.
go pick your dumbbell.
Nah, like dumbbells cool. Like 3 attempts and you've got like a bunch of dumbbells laid out. If you're listening, Mason, which he usually does, because I'll get a message saying, fuck you. Like, okay, I get it. What's the dumbbell? Yeah, like if you had them like laid out and you could only choose 3, but you had to choose 3 and to max effort, right?
Yep.
That would be cool. Or behind the neck press, that would be kind of hard. Sandbag to shoulder for heavyweights, I like. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's great.
Great. I reckon it's cool.
I think if it finishes heavy enough.
Yeah.
To slow them down, like not just too much of a speed event. So
180.
Like, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
120,
140,
140,
140,
160, 180, yeah. And then split times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because you'd have to, because a lot of guys will get the 160.
Yep.
Totem. You made this comment the other day, like totem, it depends on how many you make, but like it would be cool to have just like, I mean, we've seen a lot of fucking barrier carry in these.
Yes.
Like, there's been so much barrier carry. Fucking done with barrier carry. So totem's a nice change, but it's essentially barrier carry, right?
Yeah.
So like if you had 8 barriers, you could run it all side by side and make that kind of like spectacle. Versus totem might be a little bit hard to do that on like a wood pole.
Yep.
Is what you said, not me. Just saying.
I think the more that you can run at the same time speeds up the day massively.
Yeah.
How much do you need to warm up for a totem pole barrier carry?
No, you don't. You should.
So you could get 8 people ready at once, or 4 people, or whatever it is. But the 4-lane thing works well if it's not the most exciting of events. Because if it's not exciting, at least you've got 4 people. One person's going to do something interesting.
Yeah. And then lightweight series, you got the medley and a coffin, which is great. They're fine.
Yeah. Medley was the wheelbarrow and anvil thing.
Yeah, which is super fun. I mean, obviously we're talking about these events because this is what we're talking about. I just want to go back to this because people go, oh, well, you didn't really talk about ASA events. You didn't really talk about like AAC events. Like, well, one, it's the same thing. This is probably, in terms of promotion, this is the title.
Yeah.
So you've kind of like got it locked down. Do you know what I mean? Like having the title.
It's also thrown in your face.
And it's everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like what all the best guys in the country are trying to do ASM or win the titles.
Yep.
Right? The title of like Australia's strongest person under whatever. So that's kind of like why we sort of focus on the key federation, because we know it best too. Because like ASA and like AAC, ASA's been around for a long time, but it's not really present in Victoria that much.
No.
Like not heaps. And then you've got like ASC, which is just new. So we haven't seen what they're doing and we haven't seen much and they haven't promoted much.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Or very late. So where this, like we get the events, we know what's happening. We've got a lot of people doing the comps and stuff like that. So we know it really well.
Yeah.
And it's the most important competition of the year in the Strongman calendar in Australia. That's all there is to it.
It's hard to talk about your comp if you don't talk about your comp.
Yeah.
Because I got nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I have one post that says like the weights and the events, but I have no idea how the events are going to be run.
No, nothing. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, we'll see. Midnight Series. I'm looking forward to seeing the other like events get released and stuff like that as well. I think that'll be pretty sweet. We're going to shoot over to Louis because Louis's got a question for us.
Question of the week.
Fortnight or 6 months.
Yes.
Question of the
Question
year.
of the year.
There's a lot hanging on this one question. It's a big question.
They might be waiting a while.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Strongman would be better off going towards a festival day out type of spectacle, something like a Melbourne Cup, horse racing? No one goes to watch the horses race; they go for a day out. Or do you think it would be good to keep the Strongman as the spectacle, like basketball or footy, something like that?
I think if the location is central enough, it could be the festival if there was more stuff going on. Like Melbourne Cup has a lot of stuff going on. Like you don't have to watch a single horse race and you can get pissed and listen to music and be up in the back corner somewhere and have a great time.
Yeah.
So I think if it was big enough in a better location, whereas say like Meat Stock is a festival, they're not in good locations. So you need the community to go for the festival to be like a big outing, I guess, because then that's where you catch up and hang out with people, not just a handful of athletes.
Do you think that's where something like ASI had the right idea, but just not the right location?
Yeah, I think the location obviously was great because Mason could make everything there and do anything he wanted. But to get anybody to go to Castlemaine, interstate, let alone international, is a big ask.
So you're saying it should be more standalone like an ASI deal, but somewhere better? Or you're saying it should be within...
I'm saying it can work if it's in a good location.
Sure.
Where you get a lot of foot traffic and you get a lot of people and there is more things going on as a festival.
So it should be incorporated into another festival or it should be standalone?
Oh, do I have to actually pick?
Oh, you don't have to pick. But I'm just trying to discern which one you think is better.
Oh, I think the festival thing works as long as it's in a good location, there's a lot of foot traffic, And it's
And
easy
you
to get
don't
to.
think that meat stock is a good representation of that?
Location-wise, no.
Is
The
that just Bendigo?
demographic, great.
Yeah.
The demographic of meat stock is amazing for strongman.
Yeah.
No, but Toowoomba's the same. How
Yeah,
hard was it to get
sure.
us to Toowoomba from here?
It's a pain in the ass.
Like you have to hire a car, the accommodation sells out in
Yeah.
all of Toowoomba because everyone's there for meat stock.
Yes.
Once you're actually there, you're in there in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Yeah. Sydney is like ASM in Sydney
Yeah.
goes fucking off.
But that has the best of both.
Yes.
It's easy to get to
central.
Sydney. It's in Homebush.
Yeah.
You've also got the crowd that are just eating meat and drinking beer.
Yeah.
And more friends and family of the sport. Like heaps in New South Wales that love strongman turned up to watch.
Yes.
Not many in Queensland would have tripped out to Toowoomba. Or maybe they did a day.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And also the seating in Sydney makes it a spectacle.
Yeah. And in fairness, and I know it's moved, but and this is kind of exactly the reason why I qualified, and then I didn't do it. And people were like, well,
Yeah,
you
because
qualified,
Melbourne was
why
amazing
didn't you do
too.
it? Because I wanted to do Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I qualified for ASM because ASM was in Melbourne.
Mm.
Because I wanted to compete in Melbourne, because Melbourne was awesome. Like they had the grandstand, the crowd was there, you could have all your friends and family there, and I was like, you know what? I want to do ASM because I want to compete in Melbourne. I want to have everyone I know come and watch, and the crowd was epic. Like Melbourne was awesome. Like the grandstand was full. Yeah. Then you'd have the side bit was full. I remember watching like the deadlifts and stuff, and just the crowd was going nuts. You know, similar to Sydney, both like equally as good. I would say that like the Sydney with the crowd in that like amphitheater looks quite impressive, but I would say Melbourne probably had more people. Like in that side bit and stuff. Do you reckon? I don't reckon.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of people there at one point. But, or maybe pretty equal.
Yeah.
Right? But like that was the reason why I wanted to do it. And then when they moved it to Sydney, I was just less, like I wanted to like do Melbourne.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if middleweight series was in Melbourne, I'd probably do it every year.
Yeah.
But Bendigo
Would
doesn't.
you?
Yeah, probably.
You wouldn't do it next year.
Not this year. But like if it meant like competing in front, like the Arnolds was, like I love the Arnolds because like the whole gym crew would come up. Do you know what I mean?
Smack
like,
bang in the city.
Smack bang in the city. You have a weekend in the city. You go up there. You compete. Obviously, Mel, like that's
Well, I was living in Queensland.
yeah.
And there'd be like 12 of us that would fly down, and you would
Yeah.
just fly to the airport, go into the city, and you could just walk
Get
everywhere.
accommodation in the city. You walk around. It's
You
super
go get
easy.
meals between days.
Find a sauna.
So the expo stuff works. Find a sauna.
Find a sauna.
I think the standalone comp, like a basketball game, works, but it has to be as quick as a basketball game.
Yeah, this is.
You
and
need
it's just
people
not
to
going
show
be.
up, or like an AFL game, you need people to sort of show up, have their 2 to 3 hours, and then leave.
Yeah, but it's not going to be ever, because unless it's like ASM and like you can do it for ASM and ASW. You can do it for that. You can go, cool, we're gonna have a 3 hour, 4 hour day. Like that's it. We're gonna host a big comp. It's 3 to 4 hours. We're gonna get a little like arena. We're gonna put it on. We're gonna advertise for tickets. But you can't do that for everybody on a day. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just not gonna happen because then it turns into a long day and people don't want to go for like. People don't want to.
Or it has
people
to be
don't
like
want to take out
multiple
12
weekends.
hours, or it's gonna be every weekend, and that's too expensive because you're gonna hire a venue or hire a space.
Yep.
You're gonna hire it for the weekend. Bump in, bump the fuck out. Imagine bumping in 8 times or like 4 times. Let's say you marry it up with the same weight class for the female. Do you know what I mean? Like the equivalent weight class. It's too many bump ins. It's too many weekends out. Like it's hard unless it's done in the gym or something like that. So it's very hard unless this is where people go like, oh, like the lightweights are just impressive as the heavyweights and yada yada. It's like, well, if you go overseas and you look at like Giants Live and stuff, they pack out arenas. Like you're not going to pack out an arena.
Yep.
Like they will. Do you know what I mean? Like ASM and ASW, if you took that and you promoted it really well, I was like, this is Australia's strongest fucking man and woman. And it's going to be here in this location. Come along for 3 hours.
Yep.
We're going to put on, you can have some drinks. You get food from the fucking bar. Like, this is it. Big cash prize money. That's whatever. Like, then there's possibility of actually bringing people into the sport.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Australia's strongest man under 105 and Australia's strongest woman under 82. Come and pack out the arena. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. No one gives a fuck. I'm like, don't take offense. That's me. You know, that's my weight class. Like, but like, we're not going to sell arenas, in my opinion.
No, even Giants Live, it's not the strongest people that do Giants Live. It's the big personalities.
Mm-hmm.
It's the personalities that sell it.
The show.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think, personally, I think that it still needs to be in line with like another festival. I think standalone would be very, very hard. I would love to see standalone competitions. I don't think that we have the depth, the profiles, the capacity to be able to do something like a Giants Live here. Like you look at, like, we've got 10 or 15%. You know what? It's getting better, but like you look at the heavyweight guys, like they're not entertainers like when you go overseas. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you've got a big pool and they're getting guys from all over the world. You know, like if you went to America's Strongest Man, I'm sure not all of them would be amazing entertainers. It's like you get the 3 guys that are great entertainers. Guess what? Those 3 guys end up in Giants Live and they're great entertainers with a bunch of other guys from around the world that are strong motherfuckers who are great entertainers.
Yeah, did you see the scores from the Chaos Open?
No, I haven't looked yet. That was like on my thing.
Watching them do like max log compared to Giants Live, who just did max log. Very similar numbers. Like obviously no one hit 210.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. Also probably should be more of an entertainer.
Was it
one of the guys hit 205?
Jack Osborne?
It might have been, yeah. There was him and somebody else that I think hit 200.
So 205, you don't know.
And then there was a lot that hit 180.
Yeah.
And there was a big handful at Giants Live. Obviously different logs, different environment, but very similar like competition, very similar numbers.
Yeah.
Whole group of guys besides a handful that you don't know unless you're like a local.
There are so many strong guys that don't make it to World's Strongest Man and Giants Live that are stronger or just as deserving as the other guys. And I tell this to the guys who I have that want to make it to World's Strongest Man. Because it's very hard in Australia. If you're an Australian guy trying to get to World's Strongest Man, like, you got your work cut out for you. You want to be OTT because like we've got a few that would really like. We've got a few great guys that are strong enough that would really love to go that are fucking Australian who want to represent Australia.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? But super hard, and you've got to have so much personality. Like you because there's so many guys from around the world who are strong enough. Huh?
You get to take one.
Yeah.
And we have Eddie.
Yep.
And Eddie does really well. Eddie did really well this year.
Really well at World's Strongest Man. And he can sing. Like, unless you come to strong and you can sing, like, you're out of luck for a few years.
Learn to juggle or something.
Yeah, I think, like, it would be cool to have standalone, but I don't think we're there yet. I think that I would love... We can't control where meat stock is. I think it's the best solution for right now.
Yeah, I think
it's all we got.
I think location is just very tough for us as a country.
Yeah, Sydney's great. If we had something in Melbourne at the Expo Centre or something like that again, like obviously, like we grew up in Strongman during that fucking sweet spot golden era, right before, like right when I started, there was no Arnold's, right, right when I started, there was no Arnold's and there was FitX, I was at the start, and then it was Arnold's. So like my whole start of Strongman was expos it was originally like capo powerlifting and like the deadlift, and then it was strongman, and then it became pro raw and like strongman and the bodybuilding, and everybody was there to watch everything. And it was a festival, but it was a festival of gym shit, you know, which got people in there, and it was central. It's right in Melbourne. It's a big expo. It's called the Arnold's. Like that was fantastic. We have to acknowledge that, like for at least the time being, that's gone. So unless we can find, I mean, they're coming back, but unless we can get on something that's going to be as successful as that, like meat stock is a great alternative, but it's just a shame that the two aren't in the best locations. Sydney's fantastic. Bendigo is fine, but it's hard to get to. It's not hard to get to, it's just a pain in the ass to get to. There's not that much going on in Bendigo.
It's the same as Toowoomba.
Yeah, it's the same as Toowoomba.
From the main airport.
Great for meat stock because it's like country. They got big area, all that sort of stuff.
They all camp and live there.
Yeah, exactly. You can't run meat stock in the expo centre.
Yeah.
But from like what would be ideal for this sport would be centre, people in, advertise.
Yeah. I think location kills us. Like the time and flight that it takes us to get up to Brisbane and then Toowoomba, we could have gone through like 6 countries in Europe.
Yeah.
Like when they have a comp and it's just like, oh, it's in the UK. It's like most people from Europe can get there quite comfortably.
Yeah.
And cheap or cheapish.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we've got
expensive.
2 hours just to
It's
get
expensive.
to a different one.
Yeah, and it's paying us. You got to hire a car.
Yeah.
You spend a night in Brisbane. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's a big effort to like compete in those sort of comps comparatively. So yeah, look, I think it would be good to have a standalone, but I think for the time being, festivals. What's your verdict?
Yeah, unless standalone comps are 3 hours in out, then you're not going to get anyone doing it or turning up to watch.
I would love to see it. I would love to see
Yeah.
a standalone competition of some description. I would love to see like ASM and ASW potentially long term be standalone, and like I would pay for a ticket to go watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would go sit in like a small stadium. I imagine. Like I'm not thinking Rod Laver. Like I don't know what we got. Like
the first Static Monsters Worlds was at one of the small stadium venues that was originally made for like the Com Games, I think.
yeah, sure.
That Chad rented out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it wasn't like a big stadium, but it still had all the seating and like
yeah,
all the
perfect.
toilets, amenities, and stuff like
something
that.
like that. But yet to be discovered. Is there anything else you want to talk about today in our first session back?
If people could stop doing really bad Steinborn squats, that
we
would
want to give
help
some
my eyes.
advice across some of the middleweight series events. If you're doing the middleweight series events / Victoria's Strongest Man, behind the neck press, tips and tricks quickly. I mean, firstly, like split jerk is not the key unless you can split jerk.
Yeah, split jerks are never the answer.
Well, they can be the answer.
If they were the answer, you'd probably already be doing them
Yeah, and I mean,
or
like
trying them.
behind the neck split jerks are the most comfortable place to do the split from, right? Like it's the easiest and it's a good position. You get great leg drive from it. But if you can't catch stably, there's a good chance that it's probably not for you. It might, if you've got a weak press.
Yeah.
If you're not a very good presser, you may be able to extract a little bit more from behind the neck press.
Yeah.
Right?
If
On a
you're someone that gets really like bendy and spinal in a push press and you like lean back and get horizontal in the catch,
Yeah.
you can't do that on a behind the neck press.
No.
You'll throw it from behind you, lean back to catch, and it'll all just go
Yeah.
backwards. So like they're probably better off.
And if you've got a strong press already, you're probably not going to be better with behind the neck split jerk and learning that skill.
I assume like World's Strongest Man and everything else, if you want to press from a front rack, you can.
Yeah.
I assume everyone won't be forced to press from behind the neck because someone will break something.
Some people just can't get back there, yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
how wide do you have those?
Otherwise, sit the bar higher on your traps. Don't sit it where you back squat.
Well, yeah, that is
People put it where they back squat and they're like,
Yeah.
I can't reach. And it's like, sit it really high,
Yeah.
not where you would back squat because it's fine and you'll be able to bring your arms in.
Yeah. What's the dumbbell tips?
The usual monster dumbbell tips.
Yeah. Center. It's super.
Put it in the rack position.
Rack position's got to be weightless.
Open your hand.
Yeah. Yeah. If it stays there, it's
if
good.
it stays there, it's
Yeah.
good.
And
If
then
it keeps
the
falling,
other
if you're
thing with the monster
pressing.
dumbbells, like it's really simple. Like it's got to be in a straight line, and it's
Yeah.
got to be over your center of mass. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else is fucked up. Power stairs, like you know the big one on the power stairs that I see, like flat feet. Like you want those. You want that inch.
Yeah.
Like drive into your toes.
Yeah.
Right? The same as like stones. Like
Or people
flat
have their
feet,
hips
like
back.
Triple extension. Yeah, hips too far back.
Yeah. People have their hips way far back. With power stairs, I'm hoping that they're just duck walk handles.
Yeah, as opposed to like the big. Yeah.
No one cares what it looks like from an athlete perspective, but throwing in implements that really favor certain athletes' builds and not others
Yeah.
will just put it at a massive like disadvantage of like some people will just get stuck because the implement is a weird shape,
Yeah.
not from a lack of strength. Whereas the Short Classic, they were all just duck walk handles,
Yeah.
but the women I think had 15 kilo plates.
Yeah. Cool. That's good.
So they could actually fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the handle's the same size as a stair. So
Yeah.
then you've got someone like Nicole Jenrich and Mel Peacock.
Yeah.
Now it's down to who is stronger and faster, not just who is tall
Yeah. Sure.
and can stand flat-footed and
yeah.
flick
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
Which we've seen in the past too, where
Yep.
the stairs are too short or the implement gets too weird and you just watch all the tall people
Yeah.
do
Just like see you later.
weak tall people just inch it on
Yeah.
and you watch every short person just
Yeah.
get screwed.
Yeah. Which is always
Which
going to
I'm
be.
obviously biased
Which
towards.
is always going to be some part of the case. Like a taller athlete's always going to have an easier time with something like a power stair.
Yeah, but a duck walk handle with plates, even like shorter people can like tilt.
Yeah, tilt.
If they're
Tilt.
strong enough.
Yeah. Stone run. Sandbag to shoulder, sandbag to shoulder.
Stone run, people just need to figure out their tacky,
Yes.
as always, for the past decade.
Yeah, the stone run's
Like,
often very
figure out your
heavy
tacky.
though too.
Yeah. Don't put your tacky on too early. That's probably it.
It's like me doing a barrier carry like tutorial again last week. It's like how many times do you have to say, and when you go to comp and you say, don't tacky too early, and you see everyone tacky up super early, standing there waiting.
If it's
And then
in
they
a shed,
slip, and then they slip off the stones.
if it's in a shed in Bendigo and it's
it's
like
hot.
30 plus degrees,
Don't put it on.
put your tacky in an esky.
Yeah. And don't touch it until you're like 2 people out.
Yeah.
Like you will sweat through your tacky, you will sweat underneath it, you will grab to the first stone, and it will slide off.
Yep.
And I know this because I've done it. I've done it at like the first Arnold's. I fucked it up, and
Yep.
then it cost me a point. Like cost me a place. It's a super easy one to learn. And like people do it and then they don't learn. It baffles me.
No, that's just a tacky malfunction. It's the tacky's
Yeah, it's
fault.
the tacky's fault. It's like no. Anyway, that is the Strongman way. It's good to be back. We'll be back in a fortnight's time or something like that. I think I'm away in 2 weeks. We might have to like
Postpone it. How's
and-
February work for you?
Leigh and I will hold it.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we'll get a guest in here for a week or something like that.
I'm going to come in with a list of like, this is what Tyson wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So Tyson wanted to hang shit
And
on.
Tyson's points were this, actually.
Jeez, he's real savage
yeah,
today.
yeah, ranting. This is, ooh.
We'll get someone else to sit for you, but we'll give them a script.
I've got like a giant, I'll bring
a
it
cutout.
I'll bring it
Yeah.
for you. I've got the cutout that Jazz used for her hen's day. It's me shirtless with a disco ball and a cowboy hat. So I'll set
Yep.
this on here for you and you'll be good to go.
Perfect.
Love it. All right. It's a pleasure to be back. We will be back with more frequency. I'm not promising any certain frequency, but more frequency than what we have been. So we look forward to speaking to you next time.